welcome back, everybody. It's Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV and seen all over Cox Cable 5 times a week, Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Thursdays 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Friday at 9 p.m., and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. at night. Shown to 2 million households in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, also Morgan City and parts of Livingston Parish as well. We have you can watch us on the Pelican Sports app or also on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. You know, first of all, it's hard to be a Louisiana fan this year. Now, but you know, we can't complain. I mean, how would you like to be Mississippi or you know, in states like that, Arkansas, they don't win championships at all? Since 2000, LSU and the Saints have really helped us out a lot in winning championships. Can't say that in a lot of other states. 2000, the LSU baseball team won their national championship. 2003, the LSU football team won with Nick Saban as head coach down in New Orleans, and they won the BCS national championship. 2006, the Saints made it to the NFC championship game, only to lose to Chicago in the Windy City. It was great to though make finally the NFC championship game. 2007, Les Miles of the LSU Tigers wins another national championship. 2009. Coach Paul Maneri and the LSU baseball team wins a national championship. 2009, that same season, but they won it in 2010, but 2009 season, the Saints win the Super Bowl for the first time in their history. 2011, LSU makes the national championship game again in football. However, they got beat by Alabama and it looked bad. 21-0 final score. Then LSU, 2017, made it to the finals against Florida and lost that game in the College World Series to the Florida Gators. 2019, LSU back on the national championship mark, and they win in football again. Then in 2023, the Lady Tigers, 4 years after LSU wins the national championship in football, 2003, the Lady Tigers win their first national championship in basketball. Then that same year, Jay Johnson and LSU wins the national championship, the 7th national title in school history in baseball. This year, LSU Lady Tigers made it to the Elite Eight. But we all knew, I sat here and told you on this show, that I just don't think they're at that level to win a championship. They're close, but they're not there. They had a lot of injuries that started, and of course, some people, one person got kicked off the team, and it just messed their flow up for the whole season to where they couldn't get to that next level. But they did make it to the Elite Eight. Softball team started 24-0 on this season. Since then, they're 9-8. New Orleans Pelicans got as high as 5th in the West. They have fallen all the way down to 7th because they're 5-5 in the last 10 games. The Pelicans' biggest problem is playing at home. Here's some of the highlights of that game yesterday. The Pelicans and the Los Angeles Lakers, they played in the Smoothie King Arena. Oh, my goodness gracious. Get this. The Pelicans are 21-19 at home in the Smoothie King Center. 21-19. They've lost their last 5 in a row at home and are 3-7 in the last 10 games at home. How would you like to be a season ticket holder or, pay that much money to watch this? At home, you can't win a game. But on the road, they're the second best team in the NBA. They have the second best record on the road in the NBA. But you can't win at home. And they can't beat the Lakers. They're 1-3 against the Lakers. The Lakers just dominated them again yesterday. Pelicans didn't even lead at one time in this game. Not once. They didn't lead one time in this game. Their shooting was outrageous, was horrible from beyond the three-point mark. Their inside game was horrible, was non-existent in that game. So what in the world goes on? Well, they're 1-3 against the Lakers, but you better get ready because they play the Lakers again in the play-in game on Tuesday as they will play that. So the winner of that game will be the 7th seed in the playoffs. The loser of that game will play the Denver Nuggets, who are the number 2 seed. But you could see they just did not have it. That was a wasted three-pointer at the very end with 3.8 seconds left, and then it's just done. And they just can't get it done. So what is the problem? What's been the biggest problem with this? The team struggles are not being aggressive enough. They're not aggressive enough. And head coach Willie Green talked about that in a press conference yesterday about that very thing. Listen how many times he talks about not being aggressive enough. Listen.
They played with a ton of force, and they came out right away, and at least for that first half, they punched us right in the mouth, and they kept going. And so, we let a really good opportunity slip away.
On both ends.
That's a determining factor. When teams get in your paint, they're physical, they're driving the ball. We don't have rotations down. That's a determining factor that shows you the physicality that they played with and the lack of physicality that we played with. We'll look at it on film and get back to work tomorrow. We got this team again. So tough loss for us. We know what the deal was. They came out, they were the aggressors, and when you're the aggressive team, things go your way, and they had us on our heels all game. A sense of urgency, understanding what we're playing for, and going out together like we've done the past few games and bringing it from start to finish.
So my question is the Willie Green experiment over? I mean, do you keep this guy there? Because let's take a look at it. When you look at Willie Green, he's got him there. 3 years in a row they've been in the play-in. They can't get past that hump. They can't get better and better and better. And you've got 3 players on this basketball team that you just can't waste. You got 3 stars on this team that their time is the window is closing. McCollum. How much more has McCollum got? He's been in the league a while. Ingram has been getting hurt the last few games. Thank God Ingram was back yesterday. Williamson, will he still be there and, at a new contract? Will he continue with the weight problem and all that stuff? How much longer can you go with Willie Green? When you look at it, let's look at New Orleans when they started building around Zion Williamson and started getting trades coming in, and man, everything was great. But look at Oklahoma and the Thunder, the number 1 seed in the West. They started 2 years after us, and already they're the number 1 seed. They've turned their program around that quick, while New Orleans is still waiting around. I want to ask Jonathan this because Jonathan follows a lot of Pelicans basketball. Jonathan, your thoughts. Is the Willie Green experiment, do they keep going on with Willie Green?
I don't think it's Willie Green, but winning is the answer. I mean, winning in the playoffs is the pedigree. I don't think he has much wiggle room left. You've seen Gail Benson, okay, firing basketball coaches.
Right.
Football coaches is different stories, but I agree, Chris. They have to make a serious run, get past the play turns. And this Lakers team, the reason they were able to build around Zion is because they traded all those players and picks for Anthony Davis to the Lakers. They've just been kicking the Pelicans behind every chance they get. So it's going to be a tough task for the Pelicans to get past the Lakers once again. It needs to be done. I agree.
Yeah, because in the NBA, it's the worst sport that has a coach. Because you could see LeBron James, when there's a timeout, he's not paying attention to his coach. In fact, sometimes he turns his back. KD, same thing. There's a lot of players like that. They don't listen to their NBA coaches. And so you really can't almost go by that. But at the same time, how much more do we keep going with Green? And to where, is there a coach out there that could come in and turn this team around? Look at Oklahoma City Thunder. They turned their team around that fast, it's not even funny. Number 1 in the West. I got a friend of mine in Oklahoma, Gary, you know him, Alan, Gary Hale. He's killing me on the phone and the text and all that stuff. He is killing me. He's running it through the roof.
Yeah, and Chris, the roster right now for Pelicans is the best roster they've had going into the playoffs in years. The role guys, you talk about a Herb Jones, and you get Trey Murphy in the same draft. They've done well acquiring talent. Jose Alvarado is great with the fans. He's the fan favorite. He has the Grand Theft Alvarado is good for one of those a game. He gets the crowd going. But in crunch time, and look, you talked about C.J. McCollum. C.J. has shot the 3-ball better than any other player in the NBA this year. So, his game is absolutely still there. But you talk about the windows closing. You're absolutely right. You cannot pay all 3 players the max, supermax deal. So somebody's going to have to take a pay cut if all 3 players want to stay in New Orleans. Brandon Ingram, I believe, is the franchise player. Zion Williamson was going to be the face, but couldn't stay on the court, and Brandon Ingram evolved into a very talented all-star. So truly, I like Willie Green. The players love Willie Green. They always speak up for their coach. He speaks up for the players. He's absolutely a player's coach. But maybe the X's and O's, the defensive effort sometimes lacking for the Pelicans. And, I mean, old school coaches like Greg Popovich aren't coming around anymore.
No,
now it's always like the new young, innovative coach who has a new offensive mind. That's going to be the new hire or the new direction of hires for the NBA. And it's tough. You see Brad Stevens coming from college to the pros, and at first it was going gangbusters, but he gets fired 2 years after making a conference championship. So, look, the shelf life for NBA coaches is very short, especially when you can't make it in the playoffs. And if the Lakers once again bounce out the Pelicans, this could be the end for Willie Green.
So here's the way the NBA works now that I've noticed watching the NBA a lot this year. It's 3 points or bust. And that's why the Lakers dominated yesterday. Because the Lakers, 3-point shot, but they're setting up the inside shot. Their points in the paint were unbelievable yesterday. And that's what was the deal. If they can't get better in the paint, then they're going to struggle from the rest on. So the situation is with that, okay, so like yesterday, they weren't hitting three-pointers, the Pelicans. They were just too and far between hitting three-pointers. They don't have an inside game. There's no mid-range jumper shot anymore. Ain't that unbelievable to me? I mean, so if you're struggling from hitting threes, you're going to lose in the game. A friend of mine asked me, why is it this year you see all of these teams that are down by 20 and come back and win? And it's because of the three-point shot. Then all of a sudden the three-point shot starts getting good, and they start hitting nothing but threes. Well, the New Orleans Pelicans struggled yesterday again at home. I mean, okay, so Jonathan, you got you and your son go watch the game. You spend your hard-earned dollars to watch the Pelicans at home. You got season tickets. And to watch them do what they've done this year, only 2 games above 500 at home? I mean, what in the heck?
Yeah. They call it the blender down there in New Orleans, and it is. The games are fun to go to, Chris. I mean, the audience is engaged, and they have music playing, and they're throwing T-shirts, and it's much easier to feel it connected to the crowd because you're so intimate. You're right there on top of the court. So when it is sold out, it's a great atmosphere for basketball. The problem is getting those fans into the Smoothie King Arena during the week to catch those games when they're, like you said, 2 games above 500. Look, the Saints, they went through a great spurt where they had a true home field advantage. They couldn't lose in the Superdome. The fans were, in the game from whistle to whistle, no doubt about it. And that came along with winning. And once the winning kind of stopped and the home field advantage wasn't the same for the Saints. Right. And you're seeing a lot of that with the Pelicans still. I mean, when they're in it, it's a lot of fun. But, New Orleans loves to back a winner. And if you love New Orleans, it'll love you back, the famous Drew Brees saying. And a lot of these guys have bought in for the Pelicans. And I know Willie Green certainly appreciated the opportunity to come down here and be a head coach. I don't think he wants to go out like this. But unfortunately, for every coach, it's going to end one day. And maybe the message has gotten stale. The play-in tournament is no longer good enough once you taste the success and move on to the playoffs. So, yeah, good luck to the Pelicans. They're going to need it. Any team that can stretch the big man away from the basket and get Valanciunas, 10, 15 away from the basket where he can't really be a true effective shot blocker, completely takes him out of the game. He has trouble getting up and down the court, a big body guy who's a true stopper at the rim. And if you pull him away, Anthony Davis is a tough matchup for any team, but especially with the Pelicans.
Now he's had a back injury, came out of there with a back injury. I don't know if he's going to play on Tuesday or not. Some Laker fans are saying the same thing they did last year. Lose so we don't have to play Denver in the first round. Because the winner of the game with the Lakers and the Pelicans on Tuesday automatically are the 7th-ranked team, and they will go play the Nuggets. Now, the loser of that team has to play on Friday against the winner out of Sacramento and the Golden State Warriors, and that'll be another game that'll be in the Smoothie King Arena. Almost in a way, hope that because the Pelicans had a very good road game here in the last couple of weeks, but you bring up great comparison to the Saints and the Pelicans because that's true. The last few years of the Sean Payton era, they were better on the road than they were at home.
Yep.
And I mean, you work your butt off for season tickets, and you're going to see that? That's horrible. And they talk about the how loud it is in the dome and all that stuff, and it is. But that doesn't make a team lose or not. It makes it a little difficult, but they get around it. And that's exactly what's happening right now. But I'm so shocked on how the NBA's with the 3 points or bust, and I'm seeing every one of them like that. If you've got a big guy that threatens down low like a LeBron James or like someone like Anthony Davis, you throw it to them, and then they set up the shot for the 3-point shot because everybody seems to go defense. So for me, Jonathan, for me, I'd rather a man-to-man defense in NBA.
Right.
Do a man-to-man defense. Don't do a zone because everybody's in the middle in the paint, and where everybody's shooting 3-pointers, you know it's coming up. You can feel it. And then all of a sudden they kick out to a guy who's wide open for a 3-point play, and you don't – that's like giving a quarterback plenty of time in the pocket. He will pick you apart. I don't care if he's the 32nd quarterback in the National Football League or what. He will pick you apart because he's a pro quarterback. So you got a pro player that's hitting beyond the 3, 7 out of 10 times, he's going to make that.
Right. Now, Steph Curry absolutely changed the game. An undersized guard that could light it up from 3.
Right.
And analytics has been pumped into all sports, but I mean basketball especially. Where you shoot the basketball from determines a lot of times the percentage of it going in. And the mid-range game has completely been eliminated from basketball outside of the pick and pop from a big man that you see from a Chris Paul offense. I'd say an old school player, but. Yeah, according to analytics, it's better to shoot more threes, especially that corner 3. So fast break, you no longer see 3 guys, running their lane, getting to the court. One of them is absolutely breaking off to that corner so he gets a 3-point shot. And look, you mentioned the comebacks. That's what makes it possible. Like you said, that 3-point shot. And if you're not matching 3 for 3, you can get caught really quick in the NBA because it's so fast. I mean, the pace is up and down. They're scoring buckets. Every 30 seconds, there's 2 buckets. It's hard to keep a lead when you're giving up 3-pointers, and it certainly has bit the Pelicans too.
I think Zion Williamson is still good. He's taken a step back. He's taken some steps back. A couple things I'm looking at. He doesn't shoot many threes now. I mean, when he first came, he was shooting threes. He was shooting everything. He was shooting down low and shooting threes pretty well. He's a southpaw, left-handed shooter. Great. Also, notice that, Jonathan, another thing, as big as his arms are, his biceps are, his hands are not strong at all. He's losing too many balls down low. When he gets the ball, he goes up for the shot, and the ball spins up in the air. That's him losing the ball. And there's nobody knocking it out. He's just turning the ball over. Yesterday, the Pelicans had, I think, 21 turnovers in that game. You're not going to win. And the Lakers scored so many points off those turnovers. You're not going to win like that.
I will say, Chris, if the Pelicans did make a Western Conference final, the next season, Zion Williamson would shoot the most free throws in the NBA. He would get way more calls on a team that was winning than a team that's trying to make a play in tournament game. So big, just like LeBron James. He takes a foul every time he goes to the court. I mean, every time he goes to the hole, but he's so big, the other player just bounces off him. It doesn't look like he's getting fouled, but he would get a lot more calls if the team was competing for championships rather than competing for play in tournament games.
I just thought this is one of the best starts they ever had. Like I said, they got up to 5th, and I thought that this team definitely had a chance to really do well in the playoffs. I'm not saying win a championship, but they have that pedigree they're building. They need to do something after this because the fans won't hold on much longer, and you're going to start – because now they want a new arena. You're not going to be able to push for a new arena or a renovation of the Smoothie King Center if you continue to play basketball like this. You got to start winning, man. You got to start winning. Everybody keeps saying it's a football town, and it is. I understand that. But if you, like you said, Jonathan, if you win, like the old saying, if you build it, he will come. If you win, they will come. They will be at the Smoothie King Arena, and it's like you said, it's an unbelievable event. A friend of mine told me that he's a big Laker fan. He told me, he said, when the Pelicans made that big playoff run about 3 years ago, they pushed Phoenix to the end. He said that was one of the best atmosphere he's ever been to in any sport he's ever done. In any sport he's ever done. So that's what we need. If we can get it going with that, but I'm really shocked. I thought this team would be better than what they are, but same old. They're in a play-in game tournament again. They got to win on Tuesday. If not, they got to play on Friday, which they will play at home. Both games will be at home, but again, as we mentioned, their home record is horrible, 21-19, just 2 games over 500. When we come back, we're talking spring football. Only in Louisiana will we talk spring football and down in the South, right? We'll do that when we come back right here as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadia and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. All right, welcome back, everybody. Marty and I were just talking about this weekend. I went to a place called House of Seafood. It's in Bush, Louisiana. It's the largest seafood buffet in the South. And I went there because of crawfish. $38 for the buffet and a drink, and, of course, taxes. And I'm going to tell you what, I ate the crawfish. That's what I went for. I wanted crawfish. If I'm going to eat crawfish this year, I'm going to go. I see people with them tongs, Alan, that were putting the crawfish on the plate. I said, y'all must not be from Louisiana. Why you say that? This is how you do it. And I took my plate and I dug in there and grabbed the plate and got out of there. I got about 3 plates of the bald crawfish. They were good. They were good. They wasn't the best, but it was good. But, oh, my goodness, they had frog legs, fried frog legs, big, juicy frog legs, too. The oysters, the fried oysters were big as my fist, almost. That's House of Seafood in Bush, Louisiana. It's the biggest it's on the north side of Covington. It's unbelievable, man. I'm telling you. And they had shrimp any way you want it, fish any way you want it. It's just incredible. And then they got a big dessert bar area. I got peach cobbler made just like Mom's. Don't say I said that though. The only thing they didn't have as much cinnamon as Mom puts in it, but it was so good I couldn't eat it all. Oh my goodness, just unbelievable. It was just delicious. And that's what I did this weekend. Went and saw a friend of mine as well. Passed through the Strawberry Festival. Saw all the deals at the Strawberry Festival down on 22. Great deal. Unbelievable deal. All right, so of course, spring football. Everybody's talking spring football already. LSU Tigers had their spring game this weekend. Let's take a look at the pictures of Tiger Stadium. These are the pictures at Tiger Stadium that were there. Look how beautiful this is going to look. This is 100 years of LSU's Tiger Stadium. That's from the outside. That's from the press box area. Now look at the end zone. Look at the end zone. Isn't that cool? The way they have the Tiger Stadium, the big windows. Those should be the old student dorms. Look how gorgeous that is. And I'm assuming it's going to be the field. Look how nice that is. How do they do that? That is amazing what they can do. If they can do that, I love that. And Jonathan, I don't know about you, brother, but this is the way I feel. This is the only thing I hate about the Superdome because there's so many games in the Superdome. I want the black end zones back in the Superdome. Look at the gold, the purple and gold end zones they've got at Tiger Stadium. I love that. I hate the way they've done that, where they took that away from from the Saints. I hate that because it used to be black and gold end zones. Look how gorgeous that is. I mean, that's got to be some way computer to where it runs on its own, a stencil. I mean, how do they do that? That is absolutely perfect. If they can start doing that, that is amazing. But I hope to see that this year for LSU football because that was pretty impressive. Speaking of LSU football, they had their highlight. Let's look at their highlights right here. Their spring game yesterday. Nussmeier went 7 for 7 in it. But again, look, these are spring football pictures, which means this. It's controlled. It's done on national TV. It was on SEC Plus, but it's going to be on the SEC network this week or next week or the next few. So this is really a vanilla spring game. The running game looked good. The passing game, Nussmeier is clearly the number one, as most of the reporters from the Advocate stated. He looked very good in his passes. Like I said, he went 7-7 this weekend, so that was pretty impressive. I'm going to give you some of the stats here that happened with LSU and their deals this week. And like I said, just great running. Jackson looked good running the ball. There's Nussmeier right there running, and they got to do the little end zone celebration that you can't do in the regular season. But hey, have fun with it. That's what they did. Go out and have fun with it, and exactly what they did. That was good to see. So they had a good time. The passing game was good, and everything else of that nature. Now the problem was the defense again. Were they as bad? I saw a lot of the highlights that I've seen. I did see a lot of some coverages that were tight. But Nussmeier got him in there perfectly. Nussmeier, if he continues to do well, Nussmeier is going to be one of the big quarterbacks in the country. I think he threw for 2 touchdowns yesterday, so that was good. And so that's what I'm hoping that this year brings. That's going to be the key. I think offensively they'll be good. Wide receiver-wise, they'll be good. I think running backs, they'll be good. And quarterbacks, Nussmeier, they'll be good. But the question is going to be on the defense. Can they change the defense and turn it around quickly? Hopefully they can. Defense, of course, everyone's been talking about defensive line with the defensive tackles, so they're going to have enough experience there. What about in the cornerbacks? Last year they had inexperience there at the cornerback spot and the safety spot. That's why they moved Harold Perkins out from inside linebacker to outside linebacker to be able to go into pass coverage, like they did, a couple of years ago. So that's going to be the only thing that I'm going to have to look at to see if LSU is going to make it to that next level. Everything else was good. The crowd had a good day. It was a good, beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, a little warmer than it was for Friday. Friday was a little cooler. Saturday wasn't as cool, but it was still a beautiful day for them to be in Tiger Stadium. Look how tight the coverage is there. It was a completion that was good, but at least they had somebody covering right there immediately. Here's right there, knocked down right there by the defense. So, again, we're going to have to wait and see how things go on. Again, I'm not big on spring scrimmages games because of the fact I think you'll see most of their big, evaluations when it's closed to the media and closed to the public. That's when you know how good your team is. But like Brian Kelly said, he wanted to see how this team was in an environment that was kind of like a game kind of environment. That's what he wanted to see, how this team would perform with this and how they would be able to handle that in that game type situation. So what does Brian Kelly think about what everything goes on? Here's a big long touchdown pass from there. That looked beautiful. Look, LSU's going to be loaded at wide receivers. Tight ends and wide receivers, we all know that. That's good news there. So let's find out what Brian Kelly thought about what happened with this football team this year. We had a press conference right after the game, after the spring game. This is what he thought about his team's performance.
Our trainer, Owen Stanley, he told me there were no injuries to report of. Everybody got out of it clean, so that's a good thing. Look, it's like anything else, right? I mean, for me, these are opportunities to flip from 14 preparations and practices to one performance. And I want to see guys how they handle that. There's a big difference between a practice player and a guy that comes out and performs in front of, regardless of how many people. It's Tiger Stadium. There's a history and tradition in the stadium, so when you come in here, I want to see guys that can flip that switch and get into the right zone and can play this game at a high level. That can be focused, that can be in the right emotional zone. So, honestly, for me, it's just about I want to see guys handle this as I'm locked in, I'm focused, I'm treating this like, a real game opportunity. And I think some guys did that. I thought Harold Perkins did a really nice job working in the box and, seeing counter. And, so, we were purposeful in running the ball at him and making him defend and get over the top of the veer block of the tackle and then getting it back out and forcing him to tackle that. So, that was really good to see. Kyron Lacey has had a great spring. Let's see him in a game-like situation continue to do that. I thought that was clear. And then the other thing that we highlighted is a running game and how important that is with our offensive line to exert our will, and I thought I saw that. So the tenets that we talked about relative to leading up to this game, I saw a lot of them. Now, you also saw the things that we have to get better at. Certainly, we can't let the ball over our head. We had some coverage mistakes. Those can't continue to happen. Certainly. Certainly, we got to continue to evaluate and recruit at the defensive tackle position. That's a must. I like what our edges are doing. We're getting good pressure from the edge, but we've got to be really stout inside. So, those are a couple of the observations that I think were what we talked about as a group in the sessions that we had that I saw today. So with that, I thought it was good. I thought there was a run read where he tried to, spit the ball out early with Major Burns. Major kind of plays with him a little bit on the line of scrimmage off, playing a little bit of cat and mouse. And, I told him, listen, if he's on the line of scrimmage, he can't get into his B-gap fit. Just hand the ball off. He can't get there. And proximity sometimes forces him to do some things that he shouldn't do. So other than that, I thought he did a really nice job. The throw as he stepped up in the pocket was, quintessential in terms of what he's able to do. He keeps his eyes down the field. That's a huge thing, right? As he steps up in the pocket, he sees, an open receiver down the field. I thought he was clean today. I thought he was efficient. I thought he did the things that we expected him to do. Well, one of them was cover two, and we're in cover three and we're playing cover two. I mean, so the corner's rolled up. He's supposed to be a deep defender. I mean, you can't have those kind of mistakes. They're unacceptable, and that's going to cost you a chance to be on the field. So that's one thing. And then we just got flat out outrun for the football. We were in a coverage that we're supposed to be over the top. We just got flat out beat in those situations. So sometimes you just got to take a hard look at, who do we have, and what kind of situations do we put them in against, an elite receiver. And we weren't game playing against our defense today, right? So, if we got in that kind of situation, we may have to game plan and help out a corner in that situation. We didn't do that today.
All right, so that's Brian Kelly talking about it. Here's the stats on it. Nussmeier, like I said, 7 for 7, 187 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he was 100% obviously in throwing. Ricky Collins was 6 for 12, 50%. He had 52 yards throwing. A.J. Swan was 4 out of 9 for 55. So it's no doubt that Nussmeier's the number one quarterback. Now who's going to be the backup? Who's going to be the number 2 guy coming in? I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see. The rushing department, boy, Caleb Jackson looked like a cannonball out of a cannon. 14 carries, 59 yards, got a good touchdown run of 32 yards. He looked very good. Malachi Lane was pretty good, 4 carries for 21 yards. But again, there's still some work needs to be done. Defensively, they did an okay job. Offensive receiving, leading the way with 3 catches was Pimpton. Had 3 catches for 16 yards, 3 targets. He did 3 targets for him, so that was good. He caught all 3 of his targets, by the way. Xavion Thomas was 2 catches, 52 yards. He was targeted also 3 times, caught all but 1. So all in all, LSU offense looked good yesterday. Defense still got some work to do, but again, that was a scrimmage, a controlled scrimmage, and basically where they're not going to get a lot. Basically, they're going to put a lot on film so other teams can get it. Now, Southern University also had their spring football. There's no footage for this because it's not on any TV. And so they said, Coach Terrence Graves was asked, well, let's stream it. We're going to stream it. Terrence Graves said, no, we're not streaming it. We're not giving any, bait for any of our opponents coming up. No. So no streaming at all in anything and like that. Were you guys there, Alan? Y'all guys did the replays, instant replays? So they have film on it. They just didn't want all the other, like the Gramblings and the Texas Southerns and stuff, getting them. So that's why they didn't have it. But according to Jim Kleinpeter, the Advocate beat writer, 3 different quarterbacks played. Bodden had 256 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked the best. Woods had 190 yards, 2 scores, 1 interception. to set, had 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But he's not ready to announce who the starter is going to be at this time at all. They got more work to do. All 3 of those quarterbacks got work to do. And, for Southern football, this will be their 4th different quarterback in 4 years. They cannot get stability at that position. They got to have somebody. I can't believe they're not getting more in the transfer portal. How are they not getting more in the transfer portal to where they can get that superstar that can run up and down the field and do good in passing? I'm kind of shocked at that. Hopefully at some point we can. Transfer portal opens tomorrow, by the way, and will go on till April 30th. So hopefully there's some part right there that Southern can start getting some quarterbacks in here that can play the game. Pre-snap penalties, again, are a big problem for the Southern Jaguars. It's been that way for the last few years. And they've got to be able to be smarter about that. Now, they've got a new offensive coordinator, I know, but at the same time, they have to be smarter at the pre-snap penalties. Defense looked like it held its own. How big will they be this year? Let me say this, that they've been in the last 2 years in the top 25 both times. Okay, the first year they were in the top 10, and last year they were in the top 25. They're like 22nd or something like that. So they can play very good. The transfer portal, as we mentioned, again opens April 16th and goes to April 30th. Now teams will have a break. Then they'll work with a trainer, as coaches will be unable to interact with them at all. They won't be able to interact with them. It'll be nothing but the trainers be able to make sure they're getting their workouts done, their lifting done, and everything else, and their sprints and all that stuff. And then by the summer, the coaches get back control with them and get ready for the summer drills. So spring practice big for LSU both and Southern. Good day for both. It was Saturday. It was a beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky, a little warmer than it has been on the last couple of days once that front came in with a big storm that hit Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana. But other than that, it was great. All right, when we come back, we're going to be talking LSU baseball, softball, and Southern baseball as well when we come back, as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV. We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian and I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and starts a party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fruget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fruget today.
Trash LSU baseball this week. It's beyond that point. They got swept again this week by Tennessee. 8-4 on Sunday, 3-1 on Saturday, 6-3 on Friday. This team has lost its confidence, period. And it's an all-time low. When you lose your confidence, especially young kids like that, it's very hard to get them back believing that they can win again. And the last time LSU did not make the SEC tournament was 2011. The last time they didn't make the NCAA tournament, that same year, 2011. It very much looks like they may do it again. They're 3-12 of the SEC and 22-15 overall. Their RPI is 52. They're number 52. They reached the halfway point this week. They're going to play old Carrick Jackson, the former Southern University head coach. He's now the head coach over at Missouri. They play at Missouri this weekend. Missouri's not a bad baseball team. So they're not ranked, but they're a good baseball team. They might be ranked, today when the rankings come out because they had a pretty good weekend this past weekend. So they reached the halfway point again, Jonathan, I know people have asked you. I know when you do your show tomorrow, you and Buddy Sanjay, and it's like, what else can you say about this team? There's not much more you can say what they're doing and what they're not doing. It's this confidence level on this team is at an all-time low right now.
It's just a bad baseball team, Chris. I mean, the Masters was this weekend, and we know how much the mental aspect is with golf. It's the same with baseball. I mean, if you don't believe you can do it, you have no chance. Nope. And right now, it's a struggle. There's so many problems across the board. It started with the bullpen, but now the bats have completely fallen asleep. You do hit a couple solo homers in a tournament, but then you're getting 10-run ruled because every time you give up a long ball, there's 2 guys on base.
And the errors. I watched 2 errors on Friday in 1 inning and scored 2 runs for Tennessee.
You see, and the play in the field hasn't been awful for the LSU Tigers.
No.
It just hasn't been good enough to overcome all the other issues. Bullpen, when you're walking the lead off almost every inning, you're putting yourself in a hole. Then you're behind 0-1, then you're behind 0-2. Now you're throwing hitters their pitch instead of your pitch, and yeah, balls are gonna fly out of Tennessee. Don't get me wrong, I get it's a short porch in both corners, but LSU had a chance to not only set the tone for the rest of the year, but send a message to themselves that, hey, we're a good baseball team that just got off to a rough start. It did not happen. They came out flat. Never really turned it around. I thought the Saturday game they looked good at times, but never in the tournament and never in the series, I should say, did you feel that LSU was going to, now here's a chance. The Tigers are going to pull away, take this game. You never felt confident. Right. The bullpen's been an atrocity. Can't get anybody out. Can't even – Samuel Dutton was like the only pitcher that wasn't walking guys out of the bullpen, and now he's starting to walk folks. So who's going to come in and throw 3 strikes in a row? That is a big problem for Jay Johnson. Yes, the fielding has been a struggle at times. Braswell, he'll make the flashy play, but then a ball will eat him up, go between his legs. Right. Stephen Milam is nicked up now, and he's been a bright spot for LSU. So it's not going to get any better anytime soon. It's going to be a struggle for LSU to turn things around. And look, Missouri's not going to lay down for them and say, hey, look, we're playing LSU. They're struggling. They need a win. We're going to go ahead and give them one. That's not going to happen. If LSU doesn't come out and perform, they're going to get swept again. And it's going to be a very tough task. Not only you play the national defending champions, but they're a team that's on the ropes, and teams can sense that.
Unfortunately, it's going to be like Mississippi State and Ole Miss.
Yep.
Where they look that bad after they win the national championship.
Yep.
I mean, Bianca, I think, is on borrowed time at Ole Miss now. Because, I mean, it saved his job by winning the national title 2 seasons ago. But they were talking about Bianco being out before that. Then he wins the national championship. So is there a chance LSU could still – if they make the SEC tournament, they could be another Ole Miss. They could. Or, they might miss it all the way. I don't know. On paper, this team is good. On paper, they're loaded. And everybody said they had the best roster when this season started. But it's got to come together, and right now it's not coming together. The coach can only do so much. It's not Jay Johnson's fault. He's not up there. Yes, all people blame Maneri. Everybody wanted to blame Maneri. No, it's not their fault. It's the kids got to go out there and they got to believe they can win. And right now, this team, that's what Nick Saban said when he first got here. I want to change the culture, the losing culture on this team. That's the first thing you got to do is change and lose the culture. And speaking about Nick Saban, I don't know if you heard this story or not. O'Brien, first year becoming the offensive coordinator at Alabama. He gets in there, and they got other assistant coaches that are there, just won the national championship in 2020, and they're already saying what's ring size they're going to be for the national title ring. Saban walked in the room and said, what are y'all talking about? Our national championship rings, coach. He blistered him in front of everybody right there. That was last year, even though it was a week ago. That was last year. This is this year. We are working on this year right now because that's why he's successful every time. The hardest part of a coach is winning a national title, and then the biggest thing they got to do is coach the next season because those players, I know there's so many new players here on this LSU team, but those players now, we're at LSU, man. We're automatically given the World Series. We're going to be in the College World Series, and that's not the case.
Well, it's the old adage, Chris. The best teams are the teams that are, they hold each other accountable. The coach could yell till he's blue in the face, but when the players start holding players accountable, that's when the special teams come about. And you lose so much talent to the pros off this last year's baseball team, but you lose a ton of leadership. I mean, all of those guys that aren't in the building anymore were leaders on that team. You talk about just the number 8 and Gavin Dugas and how special it was for him to wear number 8. Well, and I hate even talking bad about these young men because they really have done an outstanding job for LSU's program. But Hayden Travinsky is supposed to be a leader on this program. Whatever the reason for him not to run to second base and just stop and get called down when LSU beat out a play on a Sunday game in a series you already lost, in a season where you've lost your first 5, is mind-boggling to me. And they showed Jay Johnson standing out on the bullpen, out of the dugout when it happened. And I know he hasn't given up, but it was the look of dejection that a lot of coaches get when they feel their team has given up. And right now, that's how LSU's playing, completely flat, no spirit, no life. And Coach Jay Johnson said it the week before last. We're going to change the meaning of consequence around here because it is a privilege to play at LSU and to know you have that name on the front of your jersey, not the one on your back of your jersey. And you're going to see some guys start losing a lot of playing time here coming up for Jay Johnson because this is not acceptable for his standard. It was never about making it again to a championship, but this brand of baseball is not up to LSU standard.
And you'll see a mass exodus after this with transfers. The guys that were, because what did Chris Blair tell us at the beginning of the season? He told us that it was just how much playing time do you get those players because you got so many players. You got to get them food. You got to make them eat. And I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a mass exodus of players that are going to be leaving LSU. Well, softball struggling as well. We mentioned they were 24-0 when they started. We had Coach Beth Torino on the show. Since then, they've gone 9-8. 9-8. They have struggled immensely, including this weekend. They lost at home in a 3-game series to an unranked Auburn Lady Tigers softball team. That's pretty bad. Errors at crucial times, Jonathan, and that kills me about watching them. Errors at crucial times in a game. In the top of the 7th inning, when a catcher gets a drop strikeout 3 and throws the ball over the first baseman's head. Run comes in and scores, and that's the difference in that game with Auburn. Auburn wins on Friday. LSU wins on Saturday. They lose yesterday. Again, I think the final score was 3-1. They're too patient at the plate as well. Too patient. They watch the first strike go by, that's fine. If you want to be patient like that, fine. Then the second strike goes by, right there at the strike zone, not even swinging. So what do you got to do after that? You got to defend the plate because if it's an inside corner or outside corner, you got to umper may call that. So you got to be able to swing at that at all times. I don't believe. Let the first one go, fine. But the second one, anywhere near that plate that you think is in the strike zone, you've got to be able to hit that softball. Barely beat Southeastern last week. Barely. Now they play UL Lafayette this week. And we all know what happened last year in the regionals last year here at Tiger Park. So they're 10-8 in the SEC, 33-8 overall. And they go to Tennessee this week. And yes, just like the baseball team was number 4, the softball team is number 4 as well. My sister is going to that Saturday game. I hope that she's not wasting her money and time going there. But number 4, Tennessee, Lady Vols will be waiting for the Lady Tigers of softball this weekend. How about the Southern Jaguars baseball team? So they lose to UAPB last weekend. So this past weekend, they're taking on the Grambling State Tigers. Grambling was 8-1 in the SWAC West. Southern swept Grambling State. Unbelievable. That's right. Southern swept them this week. Big games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Southern right now is tied with Texas Southern for first place in the SWAC. And a big game this weekend, big series. Southern goes to Houston this weekend to play against Texas Southern. So big one. Southern will host Dillard on Tuesday. Then they're going to play at Houston this week. I think it's a Thursday game. And then they're going to stay in Houston to play Texas Southern for a 3-game road. Actually, it'll be 4 games because they got to make 1 game up because of the rain over here that they had. So I think they play Texas Southern 4 games this weekend. Ought to be a fun weekend for Southern baseball if they can make that. But they're going to make the SWAC tournament the way they're playing. Kudos to Coach Crenshaw. He has done an excellent job of getting this program. They lost so many players last year, 19 players, I think, in all, and they had so many new players that came in. So kudos to him to bringing in this team, and they're competing every single week. Like I said, they didn't look good against UAPB. They did look good this week. Their pitching did pretty well. Antoine Harris and Christian Davis came in and played very well this week, so congratulations to them. Obviously, Southern's going to have to win the SWAC tournament to get to the NCAA tournament. No question with that. Their RPI is not as good. They've lost to UL Lafayette. They've lost to UNO. They've lost to a couple of times to UNO and got beat pretty good. And so they've lost those games like that. They did beat LSU, but unfortunately LSU is 52 in the RPI, so that's not going to help them at all. If LSU was higher in the top 10, that would jump up their RPI. But Southern would have to win the SWAC tournament to get to the NCAA tournament. But this team playing good right now, playing pretty good baseball. In the last 13 games, they have won 10 out of those 13 games, so that's pretty good. All right, when we come back, we'll continue to go here as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton & Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton & Fouger today.
We already know that TJ Ribs on Acadian I-10 is home to the world-famous baby back ribs. But did you know they're also champs in catering events and the most delicious wings in Baton Rouge? TJ Ribs wings are flavored to perfection and start to party in your mouth. Served with homemade wing sauce and ranch dressing. TJ Ribs can also cater any event, large or small, with the MVP, the Heisman, or even if you're feeling the Natty Package. Call 225-283-1035. Come enjoy a drink at the 50-foot bar and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy at TJ Ribs, a Baton Rouge original for over 30 years on Acadian and I-10. All right, welcome back, everybody, as we continue to talk sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV, seen 5 times in the week. Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m., Thursday mornings 11 and 7 p.m., 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., Fridays at 9 p.m. and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Seen in almost 2 million households. New Orleans, 89% of the metro has Cox Cable, about 400,000 in the Baton Rouge area and over 140,000 in Lafayette. Also seen in Morgan City and parts of Livingston as well. You can download the app, and you can also watch us on YouTube as well. Things I saw this weekend. How about Scotty Scheffler? Looked dominant in his start to finish at the Masters this weekend. He wins his second green jacket in 3 years. Has been ranked number 1 in 80 weeks in his career. 80 weeks in his short career. Pretty impressive. Has won 8 PGA tournaments in 2 years as well. They kept their, this is interesting, Jonathan. What do you think happens? Their green jackets. Isn't that awesome to win that green jacket? That's got to be one of the most unbelievable green jackets ever besides the NFL Hall of Fame gold jacket, right? To walk around with a green jacket.
Yeah.
Gotta be pretty.
Happy Gilmore never got his in real life, but
yeah.
Scotty Scheffler, I gotta say, Scotty Scheffler, obviously what he did on the golf course was impressive.
Right.
What a classy gentleman he was.
Right.
His press conference, he was so thoughtful and composed. Talked about the first time he won in 2022. I wasn't prepared for all the attention he got, but this time he knew exactly what he wanted to say, gave credit to his creator and his Lord. I was really impressed, not only with the performance, but how he handled himself after. Congrats to Scotty Scheffler.
Right. And start to finish, because he was tied at the beginning. I mean, he start to finish, he won it. And you know what's so interesting with their green jackets, I didn't know this. I thought they get to keep their green jackets and what have you. They get to keep their green jackets for a year. And then it goes back, when they go back to the tournament the next year for the Masters, it goes in their locker. So they have to keep it in their locker. It's on display, and then they keep it in their locker. But that was only for 1 year of personal appearances. I did not know that. I thought they get to keep their green jackets.
Yeah, no doubt you're getting a replica made and wearing it every time you go out to the golf course. No doubt you're getting a replica made. Yeah,
unbelievable. Exactly. That's what I would do. The PGA, well, more of the Masters. You know the Masters are holier than thou. Tiger Woods obviously had his extramarital affairs, and he had to go in front of the Masters and talk to them and beg them to get him back. Okay, so maybe that was wrong what Tiger Woods did, but come on, Masters, who do you really think you are? Remember Gary McCord was banned from doing the Masters broadcast because of a comment that he said? I mean, who do you think you are? Let me have a state trooper follow you around and see what kind of, boogaboos you do at night. Unbelievable with that. I'm blown away by that. So what does the Masters do? Well, here comes Greg Norman, the Shark, who's had great Masters, never won it, but is a great golfer. Oh no, we're not giving you a ticket. You got to buy your ticket, son. Are you kidding me? So he had to go with everybody, all the other golf Patreons, all the fans that watch it. He had to go behind the ropes, couldn't go in the extra media area or what have you. Had to stay outside because Greg Norman is the lead guy, the commissioner, I guess you could say, of the Live Golf. Even though everybody's trying to bring them together. Nichols said this week he wishes that everybody can get this straight and bring everybody together, but not the way the Masters did. That was unbelievable. Very little coverage, I thought, on the Live golfers as well. John, let me ask you a question on this. So, MMA fights there in Saudi Arabia. They have Formula One races in Saudi Arabia. They have this in Saudi Arabia. When the golf goes, it's like you just pissed on Jesus' grave. What in the hell? Are you kidding me? Again, that holier than thou.
Yeah, no. Look, I'm not a huge golfer, obviously. I don't get on the course a lot. But yeah, I mean, so the etiquette, obviously, you have to act a certain way when you get on the course. You have to dress a certain way when you get on the course. Very snooty, very snobby aura of golfers in general. But then, yeah, you don't let your best players in because of comments, and you have to, shun these players because they're going to make some money in Saudi Arabia playing professional golf, which is also, what you're trying to do, but pay them, a fraction of what they could be making. So, the Live Golf thing, I mean, that's been good for the sport, in my opinion. Absolutely driving competition. No one, NCAA should not have a monopoly, just like the PGA Tour should not have a monopoly.
That's exactly right. Tiger Woods looked horrible this weekend, plus 16. Hey, at round 3, like I would be, 85. He shot an 85 on Saturday, which was absolutely unbelievable. Well, Vern Lundquist says goodbye. Vern Lundquist, of course, been a broadcaster for a long time, did SEC football on CBS, and Vern Lundquist basically said, now his favorite series to watch was Alabama-Auburn in the Iron Bowl, but one of his favorite games of all time was when LSU and Les Miles grounded out a big victory against Alabama years ago. That was pretty impressive. But Vern Lundquist was asked, 83 years old, get this, he's 83 years old, 40 Masters tournaments. Here's that Vern Lundquist clips that he did yesterday on CBS.
A book back in 2018 called Play by Play. And the last line in the book that you wrote, Vern, I want to apply it to you. You said, thanks, to borrow a phrase, thanks for the memories. Your voice has been a beautiful instrument. Thank you for a wonderful soundtrack for all of our lives.
Thank you so much, Jim. My honor.
And he lost it right there. My privilege. He lost it. He started crying. Thanks for joining us this week on Talkin' Sports with me, Chris Powers. We'll be back again next week right here on Pelican Sports TV. Have a great week, everybody.